Hello everyone. Noelle is one of the most versatile 4 stars in Genshin Impact. As a Geoclaimer user, she brings a unique kit that lets her heal, shield, and deal consistent, unoverridable geo damage, making her a strong on-field DPS. In this guide, we'll cover everything you need to optimize Noelle, including her best weapons, constellations, talents, team compositions, and more. Whether you're free to play and just pulled her from the novice banner, or you're looking to unlock the full potential of one of Geo's strongest units, Noelle can fill that role. Noelle's normal string does 4 consecutive attacks. Her charge attacks spin her in a circle, and her plunge attacks, when enabled, coincide with the standard Claymore plunge animations. Her skill provides a Geo shield that scales off of defense, as well as healing whenever you normal or charge attack scaling off of defense. And her burst provides a Geo infusion as well as converts defense into attack while you're in the burst. Her first talent provides a shield when you're at low HP. Her second decreases her skill when you normal or charge attack, and her third has a chance to duplicate defense items. So why is any of this useful, you might be wondering? Well, I'm glad you asked. Noelle's attack string is 4. However, that 4th hit is very slow. How do we compensate for this? Well, we use 3 different methods. One is you normal attack 3 times, but on the 4th hit, you stop. Then you normal attack 3 times and stop. The second method is you normal attack 3 times, but instead of stopping, you jump. And then you normal attack 3 times, and you could repeat this one. As well as the third option is you normal attack 3 times, and then you dash. And then you normal attack 3 times, and then you could dash repeatedly. Because her charge attacks spin in a circle, if you decide to use her charge attacks, you can cover a large area with consistent damage. You can do this about 2 times if you have max stamina, and then you could resort to one of the previous mentioned things or one of the future mentioned things. For Noelle's plunge, you have to either plunge off of something, or you have to be enabled by an ally or enemy that lets you plunge. And then you can continue to plunge as long as that ally or enemy gives you the ability to plunge. Noelle's skill provides protection throughout the entire duration until it's received too much damage, or until the duration ends. When that happens, it does a second instance of damage. And the damage and protection is nice because that is layered on top of the fact that throughout this duration, when Noelle charges or normals, she's healing the whole team. If your shield breaks when you're on another character and you receive enough damage to go 30% or below on your HP, the other character on your team will gain a shield every 60 seconds, ensuring that you can continue your rotation unaffected without having to worry about your health until you get back to Noelle and you bring your shield up, and then you continue to heal up the team again. On the contrary, if you're on Noelle when your shield breaks, then you can decrease the cooldown of your skill by using normal and charge attacks to bring back your skill so you can continue to do your damage rotations unaffected with a shield protecting you and being able to heal your team again. Now, seeing that the ultimate for Noelle infuses her with Geo, gives her a damage buff, through buffing defense converting it into attack, you can make use of your normal strings, your charge combos, as well as your plunge combos, and use whatever you feel is best situated for the fight that you're going against. Favonius Greatsword is the weapon I'd recommend if you or your team are not hitting your energy needs. Very reliable. White Blind is the weapon I'd recommend you craft if you don't have it. Serpent Spine, pull from the Battle Pass. Wolf's Gravestone, lose 50-50 or pull from Standard Banner. And then Red Horde Stone Thresher is the weapon I'd recommend pulling for. It's Ito's weapon. Noelle's best in slot artifact is going to be 4-piece Husk of Opulent Dreams. Gives her the most damage bonus for any set for any playstyle that you want to use her in. Means that you don't have to swap her in and out. However, if you did want to swap her in and out, there are a couple of niche artifact sets that you can use with her. Some of which include Marashusei, 4-piece Glad,
Bolide. You could use Long Night's Oath as well. You could use her on mixes of 2 pieces that are attack, energy recharge, defense. You could also use her on Petra if you wanted to buff up your team instead of just focusing solely on Noelle's damage. If you feel like you want to buff up your other elements that you're working with, or if you're using some sort of like mono comp with the Geo, you want to make sure that you have energy recharge is the most important, followed up by crit rate, crit damage, then defense percentage if you can. If you can't, don't worry about it. Attack percentage, flat defense, all those things are going to buff up your damage. Now, as for what my Noelle entails, for my Noelle, I decided to go 65 over 200 with 140 energy recharge. If you need more on any of these stats, feel free to go for it. I went with Defense Sands, Geo Goblet, and Crit Circlet. The most important thing is not trying to waste your stats, so I have pretty much no dead stats and focus the rest on crit value and energy recharge. Noelle's Constellation 1 increases her healing consistency to be 100% whenever she normal or charges while under the effect of her skill. Her Constellation 2 increases her charge attack damage and reduces the charge attack consumption rate. Her Constellation 3 increases her skill by 3 levels. Her Constellation 4 increases the damage of her skill at the end of its rotation when it expires or when the cooldown ends. Her Constellation 5 increases her level by 3 on the burst. Constellation 6 increases defense conversion and increases the duration of her burst. The first team comp revolves around a normal attacking Noelle, your normal 3 canceling. This means that you can take advantage of characters like Yoon Jin, Yelan, anybody that buffs you or enables you for normal attacking during their combos. And it flows quite nice, it's pretty consistent. You just have to make sure that you try not to do that 4th attack because it's pretty slow. You lose out on damage instances with characters like Yelan or Shincho, as well as you lose out on the damage per second on your damage because you have that 4th instance of damage instead of going back to your fast 3 instances of damage. Overall, this team comp works pretty good, it flows pretty good, and yeah, you just kind of decide what cancels you want to go for. The second team comp is a charge attack team comp. I do believe this is the way that Noelle was originally intended to be used, especially if you look at her Constellation 2. In order to be using this team, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be taking advantage of the fact that she does not need to do reaction, she does not build Elemental Mastery, so the whole point of this build is to be doing off-field reactions on top of doing charge attacks. There's a couple of different variations you can do. You can do all sorts of reactions like Hyper Bloom or whatever reaction you feel like you need to do to meet the elemental check for the section. But the most important thing about this is that you just use your charge attacks, you make sure you have off-field application, and that you're in between all the enemies that you can be so that you're not wasting your hits. Overall, this team comp flows extraordinarily well. The third playstyle revolves around utilizing Noelle with a plunge enabler. Currently there's only Shan Yun who can enable plunges, and in this case Shan Yun enables 6 plunges. Because Noelle's burst lasts longer than 6 plunges, what you have the option of being able to do is 1, you can weave in normal or charge attacks, or 2, you can utilize characters that require higher field uptime in order to utilize their full combo. Because of this, Noelle is able to achieve high instances of damage, easily able to hit 100,000 damage as a Geo Claymore character. I think that the rotations felt very smooth, and I would absolutely recommend trying this team comp if you have Shan Yun. In summary, Noelle is one of the most versatile characters in the game. She is a healer, shielder, and a Geo Hypercarrier who can dish out serious damage through normal, charged, or even potentially plunging attacks, adapting to whatever the encounter calls for. Her biggest weakness is energy generation. She doesn't produce particles herself, but there are plenty of ways to work around this. You can stack some energy recharge, equip your team with villainous weapons to generate white particles, or even swap to another character during her burst
to use their skills and then swap back to Noelle to collect those particles before her next burst comes back up. And yes, you do keep her Geo Infusion when you go off field. It's tied to the burst duration, not requiring you to be on field to maintain the Geo Infusion. Once you've handled her energy needs, you've cleared her biggest hurdle. Noelle synergizes well with characters who buff defense, attack, damage, energy regen, crit stats, or attack speed, and can work with any characters who provide off-field damage, which maximizes Noelle's uptime and pressure. Overall, Noelle is a highly worthwhile unit. Whether you're a beginner or a veteran, she adds tons of value to your roster when built. Thanks for watching, and if you found this helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe and hit that bell for more guides and character breakdowns. See you in the next one.